Hello gurus, welcome to another episode. I was just talking to my friend while I was at the gym in Skyviews, talking about what's about to happen to Bitcoin, and you need to pay attention to this. Everyone needs to pay attention to this. They don't understand what's about to happen to Bitcoin. You need to watch through to the end of this video. Hit the subscribe button, smash a thumbs up button. I'm going to show you why Bitcoin right now, people, there's a perfect multiple things that are occurring that are about to send Bitcoin through the moon. Last week, we had the biggest weekly volume in Bitcoin's entire history. 2.2 million Bitcoin were bought in the last week. And it's not just last week. If you look at the volume per day, the last few months, Bitcoin has been clocking in highest volumes ever. And I'm going to show you, it's almost 3 times more volume than we saw during the 2021 bull market. What is volume? Volume is how much people demand Bitcoin, how much buying and selling is happening on Bitcoin. And again, we had in the last few months the highest monthly volume, the highest weekly volume ever before on Bitcoin. The most people are buying and selling Bitcoin now than they did during the 2020 bull run to 69,000. So what do you have? A perfect accumulation. You have massive volume coming in, and remember, volume predicts price. You have Bitcoin running out of supply. There's only 16 million Bitcoin that's circulating in existence. 2.2 million were bought last week. The people that are buying, that bought from 16,000, anyone who's been following my videos that bought from 16,000, we're not going to be selling Bitcoin. 70% of the holders of Bitcoin now are long-term holders. That means you have massive demand coming in. You have supply drying up. And when you have massive demand and you have low supply, you have crazy increases in prices. And that's what's happening with volume. Then there's another catalyst. You have these big banks failing all over the world. $460 billion was wiped from the banking sector around the world in the last few weeks. And now, imagine you had $100 million in the bank, in SVB Bank or one of the Credit Suisse Bank, and now you got your money back, or they bailed out the banks and you've got your money. Are you going to trust another bank with your $100 million? Or are you going to put at least 30% of it into Bitcoin? Most of Generation X, they used to put their money in gold, but no one of our generation, none of the people under 50 years old give a shit about gold. Why? Because Bitcoin is better, it's immutable, no one can print it, you can move it easily, you can take it with you anywhere with just some words in your head, and everyone of our generation understand this. So I think there's a perfect catalyst of events that are about to send Bitcoin skyrocketing, and people do not understand how far this thing can go. There's a person that made he made two $1 million bets that Bitcoin in the next 90 days is going to be $1 million per Bitcoin. Now, why is this important? Normally, everyone would just laugh at this person and blow him off. But Bilal, the guy who made this, was the CTO of Coinbase. And why everyone's taking this a bit more very seriously is Bilal warned everyone about COVID before COVID happened. He was warning everyone on social networks about the danger and what's about to occur with COVID. And everyone laughed at him. Everyone made fun of him. And then COVID came. So now when he's saying this price prediction of Bitcoin going over $1 million in the next 90 days, a lot of people that don't know him are laughing. But the people that know him and they know his history, they know he's the CTO of Coinbase, they're taking him very seriously. And I think you should too as well. Make sure you pay attention. Let's jump into the touch. I'm going to show you this volume on Bitcoin now. We're going into the charts for Bitcoin. This is what I'm talking about. So this was 69K at the top here. When you have these this head and shoulders of Bitcoin, 69K. And you see, this is the price movement, all of 2021 run for Bitcoin. And look at the volume, how much buying and selling was happening on the day of the 69. When I called the day of the top on November 11th, the buying and selling volume on that day was 234,000 Bitcoin. You can see it here on the left. 234,000 Bitcoin was on that day. The buying and selling happened on the week of November 11th, the day of the 69K top of the Bitcoin bull run. Now look at the volume that's been happening on Bitcoin the last few months. Look at the volume since April. Look at the weekly volume, and look at the weekly volume last week. All-time high buying volume on Bitcoin. You can see this green bar. It's the biggest weekly volume green bar ever before on Bitcoin, ever clocked before on Bitcoin. And that was 2.2 million Bitcoin was bought in that weekly candle. Again, to the left, 2.2 million Bitcoin was bought during that week. Again, 2.2 million Bitcoin bought during that week. And again, so that was that week. And again, look at the weekly volume when I go to the 69K top of Bitcoin. Look at the weekly volume, 234,000. So on the day that Bitcoin hit 69,000, on that week, there was 234,000 Bitcoin bought and sold. And now when you look at this week, It's 2.2 million Bitcoin, 10 times more Bitcoin was bought and sold during that week. And also another big thing that you need to pay attention to, RSI is heading up very strongly, this line down there, that blue line and yellow line, but we also have the reverse of the 69K top. See here how we had this inverse the head and shoulders on the 69K top, which predicted the price drop, and that's how I called the day of the top plus the volume. Now we have the inverse. We have the inverse head and shoulders on the bottom. A huge, this is on the weekly charts, massive inverse head and shoulders playing out on Bitcoin. And my target, I talked about this more than a week ago when we were down here at 19,500. I warned of this inverse head and shoulders with target of 31,000. But again, with this combination of volume, people are really not expecting what could happen to Bitcoin right now. So again, my warning to you is pay attention to Bitcoin. Do your own due diligence, not financial advice. Do your own research, but everyone is, again, we have a perfect catalyst. Banking failures, anyone that had big money in banks, anyone that had money in banks is going to consider now being careful about putting their money back into banks. They're going to think of Bitcoin as an alternative. No one of our generation under 55 gives a shit about gold. Bitcoin, 2.2 million were bought in the last week. 16 million Bitcoin in existence, but 2.2 million were bought last week. 70% plus of the Bitcoin holders haven't moved their Bitcoin in more than a year. That means the people that panic sold already. The people that care about Bitcoin, understand the technology, are buying and they're not moving it, they're not selling it. So this is a perfect catalyst for Bitcoin to do something that no one, only Billard is making he bet 2 people $1 million bets about this, what can happen. And I think you should really pay attention to him. Thank you for watching, everyone, and anyone that paid attention to my audience. This is my Telegram. It's a free Telegram, 7,800 members in this Telegram. And you can see here that we've got, you've got gains. Yesterday I had 281,000, 4,400, 258,000. These are some of the gains. And I asked people, share your gains today. And you can just see here, 420%, heaps of gains from students. 420%, 78%, 78%, just crazy gains from everyone. Pay attention to this. This is just, I asked them yesterday to share in the Telegram. That's why I think you should pay attention to Bitcoin. Do your own due diligence, everyone. Thank you for watching. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you all again tomorrow.